And there's another thing on the cigars ritual. Two things I'll finish on the ritual. So you have a brilliant thing in your story. Two things. You've got remove the cap, and you have the bullseye. So if you could explain firstly the remove the cap and the importance of that in the ritual, the bullseye, and then this little bad boy after, which is I got off the back of watching you, St. Dupont. The whole lighting cigar is a mini ritual in itself, isn't that correct?
Basically, that's, of course, the cigar ritual starting at the moment you enter the cigar lounge, did you have a dinner? What did you have for a dinner and all that? And then choosing the cigar, the right cigar for the right moment in time. So there is a lot of things before, but I think we need at least 10 to 15 podcasts to explain a little bit. But of course, that's my perspective. I really like to I think about every single detail in that journey. So I really can talk about it a long time. But okay, you did all that things. That's one of the reasons that I don't like social media, is that now we're going to talk about a cutting and people are going to say, okay, cutting. But I said there is a lot of things way before cutting that you should be done. So the cutting is just one single move in that journey. But that's okay. So that's
the beauty of podcasts, is we can get longer, So we'll do another one in the future. But yeah, just today, just a quick synopsis.
Okay. So basically we choose the cigar, everything we sit. So then basically the ritual starting, cutting and lighting as the first thing that we should do to enjoy the cigar, of course. So basically the remove the cap, it's I'm a professional in this sport, let's say like that. So, and I know how the perfect cut, how the good cut is very important to enjoy your cigar. So you're going to stay with your cigar more than an hour, but if you cut it wrong, the whole experience, the whole hour can be, jeopardized, let's say like that. So basically the remove the cap, I make that as a movement, as idea, because I want to put attention on it and how important it is. And I'm really happy that you, the guy who lives, 100 miles away from me, have that in mind. And that's basically why I created remove the cap. I put it something interesting, let's remove the cap. So I see how the people will react. Everybody reacts good. And then I have attention on the cutting of the cigar, which is very, very, very important. So when you start your journey, when you cut your cigar, the way how you cut it, the way how the cigar it's rolled, there is a lot of rules, which line you should not cross, how you cut it and all that. We can talk about it in some other interviews, but the perfect cut, the perfect cutted cigar gonna give you, more enjoyable taste, the mouthfeel and all that, than the cigar that it's not perfectly cut. If you cut it too deep, that means that the wrapper, the leaf that goes around the cigar can unreveal slowly, because you cut it on the very, it's a little bit hard to explain right now without the cigar showing.
I've done that. I've made that mistake before.
So yeah, so basically it can happen, and then the whole day you have to hold, the whole time you have to hold the cigar and all that. So it's kind of, and the second thing, you really want to keep that little bit rounded edges when you cut your cigar, because if you also cut it too deep, then the angle gonna be the right angle. So when you take the cigar out of your mouth, it's gonna be too sharp for your lips to taste. And of course, if you don't cut it too much, if you don't open wide, the draw, it can be the problem with the draw. So there's a lot of things that can be wrong with the cutting the cigar. Of course, when you have in your case, you have the pyramidal shape. There's two shapes, correct? There is a parejo, the regular one that we have the most often, and there is a pyramidal one that looks like a torpedo or pyramid, whatever you want to call it. So also that shape you should open just like a 5-6 millimeters from the end, because you don't want to open the whole thing. You don't want to cut the whole pyramid shape, because you really want to keep that shape, because somebody made the cigar to be enjoyed that way. So you really need to open just a little bit, 5-6 millimeters from the end, and that should be fine. So basically that's it. The remove the cap. And of course I use the knife a lot of time to show people, how the construction of the cigar, to understand when you just cut it a little bit on the edge and you remove the cap, the cigar will be perfectly open. You don't have to put the whole cigar inside your cutter, squeeze it and all that, destroying. And of course, I don't want to mention if the cigar is a little bit dry or it's aged, the wrapper, the leaf that goes around the cigar, it's more fragile. So it can really damage the cigar. So basically remove the cap, and especially when I do it with a knife, it's made only to bring the tension of the good cut. So I didn't know how to, of course, you tell people just, pay attention on your cut, but it didn't work. So remove the cap, really give that boom on the social media, and really give people attention. So the next thing that you mentioned is the bullseye. So the bullseye, after you cut your cigar, after you remove the cap, you need to light the cigar. So there is a couple of ways you can cut your cigar. There is a torchlight, like yourself. There is a matches, regular one. There is a cedar stick, and let's say there is a regular butane gas lighter. So what kind of flame you don't want to use is the flame that have any kind of odor, like a Zippo lighter, like a candles with the smelly candles like this. So those kind of flames you don't want to use, because you definitely don't want to smoke, anything that have a flavor, really can affect your cigar. So the butane gas, it's odorless, so it's good to go. So when you're using the technique, doesn't matter, is it matches or is it torchlight, there is a lot of things that you should worry about, and that's if you put your flame too close to cigar, can burn the wrapper. It can be all black and charcoal around it. That also can affect the flavor. So you really have to be, let's say the tranquilo. When I say tranquilo, tranquility, take it easy, really enjoy the process. And the bullseye that I also put in a focus, it's when you're using the torchlight, when you're burning only the edges, only the outside the circle. So you basically you basically just want to make a circle burn without burning it inside. And one of the reasons that I also like to put that outside, if you just burn your cigar inside and not outside, then you can have the uneven burn, because the cigar always burn from outside to inside, never from inside to outside. So if you have your cigar, and if you burn it all the edges around it, if you make that circle perfect, and when you take a couple of puffs, the cigar eventually gonna burn
Brilliant
inside. And then of course 1 or 2 puffs, you're gonna have that bullseye. So, but if I light my cigar inside and not all the edges, and I take a couple of puffs, then the cigar, maybe one side's gonna be burned, another one not gonna be burned. And then you already on the very beginning have an uneven burn, and then you have to catch it and you have to fix it and all that. So if you have the bullseye, it means that you're 100% have a cigar properly lit. So you're on the safe side. And so basically that's those two things that social media likes. So we have remove the cap, we have a bullseye, and I'm also starting to bring the third one slowly, and that's gonna be the time between the puffs. How frequently you take the puff. that one gonna be very difficult for me to put it outside because it's not, let's say, it's not fancy, because the bullseye, when you take it, you know, it's, you really have the, you can make something on video, you can make something on social media, of course. Remove the cap, very interesting, everybody likes it. Those two things was, you know, let's say, I don't want to say easy to put it outside, but I find a way to wrap it and to place it on the social media. But the time between the puffs, it's, for me, it's also important, like bullseye and the remove the cap, because the how frequently you take the puffs, it's going to determine your taste. The cooler the smoke, the bigger the break, the more the aromas you get. More frequently you enjoy, you get heated up, less aroma, more, and you're going to have the more bitterness and spiciness and all that. That's very, very important, and people don't understand that too, you know. But if I have a chance just to explain that.
Yeah, 100%. I'm enjoying this, definitely.
Okay, so the cigar, like any gastronomic, let's say that thing, is it food, wine, whatever, everything have a, you know, temperature to be served, correct?
Correct.
Chicken soup have a perfect temperature. Ice cream have a perfect temperature. Red wine have a perfect temperature. So I always, that's how I try to explain people when they says, oh, it's not so, I says, okay, now the chicken soup, it's like a 40, 50 degrees, whatever is it. So you need to enjoy it very hot, correct? Now put your favorite chicken soup in the fridge, leave it over there for 2 hours, and then eat it. I don't think so. That's going to be the most disgusting thing ever you drink. Okay. Red wine. So the red wine should be enjoyed between, you know, 15, 17, depends on the grape varieties, but just go outside, 35 degrees, put the red wine on the sun and put it in your glass and enjoy it. What are you going to drink? You're just going to drink the alcohol that's going to hit you right away. Correct? So the same thing with the cigar. The cooler the smoke, so the cooler the smoke, the more aromas you're going to get. But it's a little bit hard to understand because we have the fire on the you know.
Yeah,
explain
that cooler. What does that mean?
So basically, the only way that you can enjoy your cigar cooler is to make a bigger break between the puffs.
Okay, I get you. Yeah.
So with your next cigar, do it like this. You light the cigar, take a couple of puffs, the cigar, it's ignite, everything is working, and then make a break 2 minutes between the puffs. That's around 2 minutes. So when you put a stopwatch on 2 minutes, it says, wow, this is too long. You know, some people will say, what? Me? I'm doing every 30 seconds, you know, like, and that's for me the next task